In today's video, I am going to share the knowledge that I've gleaned from watching so much YouTube SISTERLOCK content. This may save you a few minutes or hours from going down the SISTERLOCK content rabbit hole. So let's get right into it. Hi and welcome or welcome back to Chris the Stylista, where we find style in the happy medium between minimalism and maximalism to create a curated lifestyle just for you. Sometimes we'll talk about style, sometimes we'll talk about hair, sometimes travel, whatever the community wants to talk about as we grow and build, and of course whatever I want to talk about on a particular day. So let's get started. The first and most important thing that I've learned as far as watching YouTube SISTERLOCK content was to respect everyone's journey and the choices that they make along that journey. People want to try new things, experiment with color, experiment with extensions, maybe with creating different styles early in their journey. I support your creative expression, your autonomy, and your ability to decide to do whatever you want to do with your hair. I also respect when people decide to stop their SISTERLOCK journey, whether they want to take them down or cut them off, whether they want to wear wigs when they begin their journey or wear head wraps, whatever folks want to do. If you find some value in their content, if you connect to where they are in their journey, whether it's a happy experience or one that is not so great, if learning about someone's personal ups and downs along their SISTERLOCK journey will help you to become a better informed consumer, take it in, learn, and maybe you will glean enough knowledge to avoid maybe some of the frustration that your favorite creator has had or experienced. Diversity in hair texture, because we all have different textures and also different densities of hair. Your outcome of getting SISTERLOCKs, even after your locks mature, may be very different from your favorite SISTERLOCK content creator. There's no perfect way for your SISTERLOCks to turn out. It will be authentically you. You will most likely, if you're invested in caring for your SISTERLOCks and you're doing the maintenance, you will have a great outcome, hopefully, and you will enjoy this new journey of redefining your own beauty with SISTERLOCks. And the journey may be long-term, it may be temporary. Just go along for the ride and see if you like it. Now let's talk about a few maybe hot button, maybe controversial issues that I've learned about by watching YouTube content on SISTERLOCks. That first phase of your SISTERLOCks journey. Some people call it the ugly phase. Some people call it the awkward phase. I do that currently. And some people opt to call it just the beginning phase. And I'm leaning towards using that language instead of saying the awkward phase. I do believe there is that first stage where you may not feel comfortable with how it looks when you're first wearing your hair, the first couple of weeks before you wash it, maybe even the first month or 3. You may not feel like, you've reached your optimum beauty with SISTERLOCks, and that's fine. So I'm going to lean towards calling that the beginning stages of SISTERLOCks, not necessarily the awkward or ugly stages, but to each their own. Install, maintenance, and cost. By now, if you've watched enough SISTERLOCK content to this point, you know that the install can be a very expensive process because it is a very tedious and time-consuming, very specific grid. It's a very tedious process, and you have to pay people for their skill and their time. If you were paying your current stylist to work on your hair for 36 hours, you would probably have to pay her a grip, or him a grip, if you were paying an hourly rate, right? And so it is expensive. The maintenance can be expensive as well for similar reasons. Skilled work, tedious, and the investment of time. I can't deny that it's pricey. When I meet people, one of the questions they often ask about SISTERLOCks is, what does it cost? And I don't have a problem with you asking me that, but for reference, when you ask people and inquire about SISTERLOCks and they tell you the price, Just expect to hear, unless they have a friend that's a consultant or family member, or unless they've installed their own locks, or maybe a micro lock style that's not SISTERLOCKS, it can be a really high price. At that point, when somebody agrees to disclose to you how much their install or their maintenance costs, you don't have to necessarily impart your perspective of how they spent their money, if you know what I mean. You don't have to necessarily say, well, I would never, that's too much, how could you ever, especially if you're the one who inquired. They were kind enough to tell you, and leave it alone. I think we all have areas of our life that if we have some disposable income that we may focus on. It might be handbags, it might be clothes, it might be travel, it might be gifts for our partner or our kids. It could be a number of things. But in this instance, this person chose to invest in their own hair. Leave people be. If it's a price that you'd never pay for your hair, that's fine. But also know that there are other alternatives to SISTERLOCKS to achieve a similar look, that unless someone is looking in your head at your grid, they can't tell the difference. Unless they're a trained consultant, they probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference between SISTERLOCKS and micro locks. And you may be able to get your micro locks installed for a significantly lower price. Oils or no oils. Personal choice. However, my consultant advised against it, because if you have oil, it can lead to buildup, and lint, because it can attract those things. So my advice would be to avoid oils if you can. Nothing wrong with an occasional spray of maybe a little water. If you're in Texas and you have this horrible water, maybe even distilled water. Just saying. Unconventional maintenance methods. I've seen some things out on these YouTube streets. I've seen some things. And for me, there are certain methods of maintaining my hair that I will not model based on a person I saw on YouTube or the internet. I'm going to consult with a professional. I'm going to use methods that are tried and true, that have been performed by multiple people who wear or maintain SISTERLOCKS and are recommended by professionals. That's it. Hard stop. Standard retie for me. To cut or keep relaxed ends. I can definitely understand someone who is slowly transitioning to natural hair and SISTERLOCKS wanting to hold on to a little bit of length and to their relaxed ends for a while, for a time. It is an adjustment to get used to seeing your hair with SISTERLOCKS. Personally, with my journey, I grew my hair out with braids, did a big chop, then 2-strand twists, and then SISTERLOCKS. Everyone's transition is different. And I've seen lovely SISTERLOCKS with relaxed ends. Very personal. And I would encourage you to pursue this journey in the method that works best for you, whether that's big chop and SISTERLOCKS or relaxed ends and SISTERLOCKS. But research both. Self-retie class or not. I vote self-retie class. As soon as you're eligible to take the self-retie class, I would advise it so that you can independently do your hair if you need to. It's just a good skill set to have. If you're finding value in this video, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thank you. Standard guidance that I found on YouTube about SISTERLOCKS. Hair color. Color your hair before you install, or you will have to wait until your locks mature in order to get color, because the color can change your hair texture. And our goal, once getting SISTERLOCKS, is to have that hair mature enough to begin locking. Coloring too early can delay that process. Bonnet. Wear a bonnet when you're lounging, napping, and sleeping to prevent lint buildup in your hair. And of course, to maintain the style that you're wearing your SISTERLOCKS in, whether that's a twist out, a braid out, an updo, a bonnet never hurts. Commonly used phrases. Best hair decision ever. I would say it's my second best hair decision ever. The first was deciding to transition from relaxer. Now, I enjoyed my days of wearing relaxers, but I wore relaxers for decades. And I did have a stylist who was amazing at maintaining my relaxed hair. But after all that time, I did start to see some thinning at the top of my hair that may be a combination of the chemicals in relaxer and age, and possibly some medical concerns that I am exploring, and I will update you on that later. But getting Sisterlocks, second best hair decision ever, the first transitioning from relaxers. Hair freedom. To a certain degree, there are still monthly salon visits. There's still 2.5 to 3.5 hours in a chair. But on the flip side, your wash days are shorter. You don't worry about the humidity ruining your hairstyle. So there is a degree of hair freedom that comes with this particular style. But I think there are very few hairstyles that are completely maintenance free. This one certainly is not. Personal observations from watching Sisterlock content. I have an idea of a goal length. I'd like for my hair to be a little bit below bra strap, and then I'd like to maintain that by regular trims. I think that will allow me an opportunity to make a nice bun or top knot, and also to tie my hair back or to have a little variety in the styling. If you'd like to know more about my Sisterlocks, I do have a video on my wash day routine, and also one about my 2.5-year journey with Sisterlocks, with pictures that are pre-Sisterlock install, Sisterlock install, and up to current date. Just a quick check-in. I wanted to say, how are you? I'm hoping that you are well. I know these are very difficult times, and I would be remiss by not acknowledging that in a video or 2 or 3 or all of them. So I wanted to share that one of the ways that helps me to get back to center and to quiet my mind is to listen to audiobooks, which I listen to in the car. I listen to them when I'm trying to detach from social media, and I'm trying to stop watching this 24-hour news cycle and the sensationalism and the political back and forth. That's what I do. To share a little bit about what I've been reading lately, I've spent a lot of time recently thinking about my career and you know, where I am right now in the next move of my career. One of the things that has helped me a lot is reading How Women Rise, and I will leave a link to that, and also I'll leave a link to Audible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.